Have you ever felt that even after a profound loss, there's something greater calling you to move forward? What could that something be, and how do you find it? These aren't just fleeting thoughts. They touch the very core of what it means to be human, especially when facing moments of grief or uncertainty. Today, we'll explore together the concept of purpose, something far deeper than goals or material achievements. Purpose is about meaning, not merely about what you accomplish. Why do we seek purpose, particularly after experiencing loss or pain? When we endure a deep sorrow, such as the death of a loved one, we often find ourselves questioning the essence of everything. Why did this happen? What role do I play now? This type of inquiry is natural. After all, when something that once gave our life meaning disappears, we need to reevaluate our priorities. Purpose emerges as a potential answer to this crisis of significance. It helps us respond to the question, what truly matters now? Let's consider an everyday example. Imagine a woman who suddenly loses her husband. In the first few months, she feels utterly lost, as if the ground beneath her feet has vanished. But gradually, she begins to notice that there are still things that drive her forward, caring for her children, supporting other widows navigating similar challenges, or even dedicating time to a hobby she always loved but never had time for. These small sparks of motivation start pointing towards something greater, a renewed sense of meaning in her life. Here's a question for you to ponder. What truly drives you right now? Do your old motivations still hold relevance? Perhaps you've recently experienced the loss of someone or something significant. Or maybe you simply feel that your current life doesn't reflect who you truly are. Whatever the case, this sensation of disconnection serves as an invitation to look more deeply within yourself. To make this clearer, consider the story of John. After losing his job during an economic downturn, he found himself directionless. For years, his identity had been tied to his career. Over time, however, he began to realize that his true passion was teaching. He decided to volunteer by giving classes in his community, and for the first time in years, he felt that he was making a meaningful contribution. That's the power of purpose. It helps us reconnect with what truly matters. Purpose isn't something that appears out of thin air. It's built from our experiences, values, and connections. As we progress through this video, you'll discover how to uncover your own purpose and integrate it into your daily life in practical and sustainable ways. Purpose isn't a final destination. It's an ongoing journey. And this journey begins with a single step looking inward. So what exactly is purpose? Many people confuse purpose with success, achievements, or even dreams. But purpose isn't about what you do. It goes much deeper than that. Purpose is about who you are. Picture a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. It doesn't choose when to shine or whom to guide. It simply exists to lead lost ships through the darkness. Similarly, purpose is that inner light that guides us, especially when we're feeling lost. It provides direction, even when the path seems unclear. But why do we pursue purpose, especially after times of loss? When we go through deep pain, like the death of a loved one, we often find ourselves questioning the meaning of things. Why did this happen? What is my role now? This kind of questioning is natural. After all, when something that once gave our lives meaning is gone, we must reorganize our priorities. Purpose arises as a possible response to this crisis of meaning. It helps us answer the question, what truly matters now? Let's think about an everyday example. Imagine a woman who suddenly loses her husband. In the first few months, she feels completely adrift, as if the ground beneath her feet has crumbled. But little by little, she starts noticing things that still spark her motivation. Taking care of her kids, helping other widows going through the same process, or even dedicating time to a hobby she's always loved but never had time for. Those small flames of motivation begin to point towards something bigger, a new sense of meaning in her life. And here's a question for you to reflect on. What truly moves you right now? Are your old motivations still relevant? Maybe you've recently lost someone or something important, or perhaps you're simply feeling like your current life doesn't reflect who you really are. Whatever the case, this feeling of disconnection is an invitation to look more deeply inside yourself. To clarify further, think about John's story. After losing his job during an economic crisis, he felt completely lost. For years, his identity had been tied to his career, but over time, he realized his true passion was teaching. He started volunteering in his community, and for the first time in years, he felt he was contributing in a meaningful way. That's the power of purpose. It helps us reconnect with what truly matters. Purpose isn't something that magically appears. It's built from our experiences, values, and connections. And as we move forward in this video, you'll see how to uncover your purpose and integrate it into your daily life in practical, sustainable ways. Purpose isn't a final destination, it's a continuous journey. And this journey begins with a single step, looking inward. Here's a final provocation for this section. What if your purpose isn't something you search for externally, but something you already carry within you, waiting to be acknowledged? Think about that as we move on to the next topic, where we'll explore practical tools for discovering your purpose. Now that we've clarified what purpose is and why it holds significance, let's dive into something even more tangible. It's time to explore practical tools that can assist you in uncovering your purpose. These exercises aren't just theoretical, they're designed to be applied in your day-to-day life, offering valuable insights about who you are and what truly matters to you. The first step is to delve into self-awareness techniques. One of the most impactful exercises you can do is pinpoint moments when you felt most alive or fulfilled. Grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and jot down 3 specific situations where you felt fully present and motivated. It could be something as simple as helping a friend in need, completing a creative project, or even spending time outdoors. Now, review these moments and ask yourself, what do they have in common? What values or qualities are present in each of them? This exercise can reveal important clues about what genuinely drives you. Another powerful technique is identifying your core values. Ask yourself, if I were to be remembered for one thing, what would I want it to be? Would it be compassion, creativity, resilience? These values act like the roots of a tree. They support everything you do and define the foundation where your purpose can flourish. By aligning your daily actions with these values, you begin to create a life that reflects your deepest essence. But discovering purpose isn't purely a rational process. It also involves listening to your intuition and spirituality. For many, people connecting with something greater, whether through religion, meditation, or contemplating nature, plays a crucial role in finding meaning. Imagine you're cleaning a dusty mirror. Each layer of dust you remove reveals more of your reflection. Similarly, spiritual practices can help you clear external distractions and access the inner wisdom that already exists within you. Let's explore an example to make this clearer. Maria was a woman who always thought of herself as just a homemaker. After losing her husband, she began attending a local meditation group. There, she realized she had a natural ability to listen and comfort others. Over time, she decided to volunteer at an organization supporting widows. This work brought new meaning to her life because she was aligned with her values of compassion and service. Spirituality became the key that unlocked this door for her. Here's an unexpected question for you. What if your purpose isn't something you find, but something you've carried inside you all along? Perhaps it's simply waiting for you to pay attention. Maybe it has already shown up in small gestures you consider insignificant but are actually rich with meaning. To solidify this learning, I'd like to propose another exercise. Think about something you do for free, without any financial reward or external recognition. It could be something like teaching, writing, tending to plants, or even cooking for others. What does this say about you? How could this activity be expanded or integrated into your daily routine? Now take a pause, breathe deeply and reflect on this. There's no rush. Allow yourself to feel curious about the answers that arise. Remember, purpose doesn't have to be grand or complicated. Often, it lies in the simplest and most genuine things we do every day. Before we move forward, it's worth noting that the journey of discovering purpose isn't linear. Sometimes you may feel lost again, as if you've taken a step backward. But that's part of the process. Purpose isn't a fixed destination, it's an ongoing conversation with yourself. And that conversation evolves as you grow and face new challenges. Finally, keep in mind that the search for purpose doesn't have to be solitary. Human connections play a vital role in this journey. Conversations with friends, mentors, or even strangers can bring fresh perspectives and inspiration. And as we'll see in the next section, these connections are also essential for building a sustainable and realistic purpose. Now, think about a specific moment in your life when you felt you were contributing to something bigger than yourself. It could be something small, like helping someone cross the street, or something larger, like leading a community initiative. What does this moment reveal about your skills and values? How could it serve as a starting point for something greater? Purpose can also be uncovered in the shadows of our past. Sometimes our greatest challenges or losses can point to what truly matters. For instance, someone who faced financial difficulties might discover a purpose in educating others about personal finance. Someone who overcame an illness might find meaning in supporting patients and their families. These examples show that purpose doesn't emerge from nothing. It's shaped by the experiences we live through. Here's a final provocation for this section. What if purpose is less about discovering and more about creating? What if instead of searching for something ready-made, you could build your purpose gradually through the choices you make every day? Reflect on that as we move on to the next topic, where we'll explore how to turn these ideas into practical and sustainable actions. We've now arrived at a critical stage in our exploration. Discovering purpose is just the beginning. The real challenge lies in transforming it into something sustainable and realistic, something that can be lived out daily, even when circumstances aren't ideal. Purpose doesn't need to be extraordinary or spectacular. It can be simple, subtle, yet profoundly meaningful. The key is aligning it with your personal values and integrating it into your routine in a practical way. Let's start with a fundamental point: how to align purpose with personal values. Imagine your values as the pillars of a house. Without them, any structure you try to build is bound to collapse. So ask yourself, what principles guide my life? If you value compassion, how can you incorporate it into small daily interactions? It might mean listening more attentively to a coworker or helping a neighbor without expecting anything in return. If you value creativity, how can you express it even during stressful or exhausting times? It could be writing a few lines in a journal, sketching, or experimenting with new recipes. When your purpose is aligned with your values, it becomes natural, like breathing. But here's a thought-provoking question. What happens when your values conflict with the demands of daily life? For example, imagine someone who deeply values family but has a job that requires long hours of dedication. How do you balance these two forces? The answer lies in taking small steps. Purpose doesn't require radical overnight transformations. It grows gradually, like a stream becoming a river. A small gesture, like calling a loved one during your lunch break, is already a step in the right direction. The important thing is to maintain consistency, even if progress seems minimal. To illustrate this, consider Anna's story. She was a young woman who dreamed of becoming a writer, but her daily responsibilities, work, bills, household chores, seemed to suffocate that desire. Instead of abandoning her purpose, she decided to dedicate just 15 minutes a day to writing. At first, it seemed insignificant, but over time, those small moments added up. She started publishing posts on a blog and eventually received invitations to speak at workshops and events. Anna discovered that her purpose didn't have to be grand from the start. It could grow gradually while she continued fulfilling her responsibilities. Now pause and reflect. In which areas of your life do you feel you're neglecting your values? What can you do today, even if it's something small, to bring more alignment between who you are and what you do? Remember, purpose isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Another important aspect is recognizing that purpose doesn't have to be singular or unchanging. Many people fall into the trap of believing they must find one single thing that defines their lives. In reality, purpose can be multifaceted. You might have a purpose related to your career, another connected to your family, and another tied to your spirituality. These dimensions don't need to compete with each other. They can coexist and complement one another. For example, someone might find meaning in being a good parent, contributing to the community through volunteering, and cultivating inner calm through meditation. Purpose is like a mosaic. Each small piece contributes to forming a larger picture. Here's another provocation. What if purpose is less about doing and more about being? Often, we put pressure on ourselves to achieve great accomplishments as if they were the definitive proof that we're on the right path. But what if true purpose lies in who you choose to be every day, being patient, being kind, being curious? These qualities can be lived out regardless of external circumstances. A lesser-known concept, yet highly relevant, comes from Carl Jung's analytical psychology, the idea of anima and animus. According to Jung, we all carry masculine and feminine aspects in our psyche, regardless of gender. The anima represents our receptive, emotional, and intuitive qualities, while the animus symbolizes our active, logical, and assertive traits. When we seek purpose, we're often trying to harmonize these internal energies. For example, someone who has always prioritized logic and productivity might discover that their purpose involves developing more empathy and emotional connection. This process of integration can be a powerful source of personal growth. Before we proceed, I'd like to suggest a practical exercise. Take a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. In the first, list all the activities you regularly perform, at work, at home, with friends. In the second, note how each of these activities reflects or contradicts your personal values. This exercise can help identify areas where you can adjust your behavior to live more in alignment with your purpose. Finally, remember that purpose isn't something you achieve and then forget about. It's dynamic, like a river that changes course over time. Sometimes you may feel like you're losing your way, but that doesn't mean you've failed. It simply means you're evolving, rediscovering what matters as you face new challenges and experiences. And this evolution is an essential part of the journey. As we'll see in the next section, living your purpose isn't just about discovering what truly matters. It's about integrating that meaning into your daily routine, even during the toughest moments. Now that we've explored how to uncover and build a sustainable purpose, it's time to discuss how to live that purpose in your everyday life. Purpose isn't something that exists solely in our thoughts or reflections. It needs to be woven into our routines, even during the most challenging moments. After all, It's in the small daily actions that we find the true essence of meaning. Let's begin with a provocative question. How do you stay motivated when life seems to work against you? We all face tough days, moments when exhaustion, frustration, or even grief threaten to steer us off course. In these situations, the key lies in creating simple rituals that connect you to your purpose. These could be as small as writing down 3 things you're grateful for before bed, or setting aside 5 minutes each morning to meditate. These tiny habits act as anchors, keeping you grounded in what truly matters, even when life's storms try to pull your focus away. To illustrate this, consider Carlos's story. After losing his job during an economic downturn, he was overwhelmed by feelings of failure and hopelessness. Instead of surrendering to negativity, he decided to dedicate 1 hour a day to helping others facing similar struggles. He started by sharing advice in online groups, and gradually he realized that these connections made him feel useful again. This daily ritual not only kept him motivated, but also reinforced his identity as someone who contributes to others' well-being. He discovered that purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can thrive in small, consistent gestures. But how can we ensure these rituals remain consistent? Here's a practical technique. Link your purpose to activities you already do every day. For instance, if you value human connection, you could turn a simple trip to the grocery store into an opportunity to smile at a stranger or ask the cashier how their day is going. If you value creativity, you could use your commute to observe the world around you and seek inspiration. When purpose is integrated into routine tasks, it becomes a natural part of your life, rather than something that demands extra effort. Now, pause and reflect. What are the activities you do every day? Without much thought, how could you transform them into moments of connection with your purpose? Remember, purpose doesn't need to be separate from your routine. It can be found in the simplest things, like preparing a meal for someone you love, or listening attentively to a friend who needs to vent. Another essential aspect is the role of human connections. Purpose is rarely lived in isolation. Often it manifests through the relationships we nurture and the contributions we make to something greater than ourselves. Think of a tree. Its roots are deeply embedded in the soil, but its branches reach toward the sky. Similarly, our purpose often finds expression when we help others. This could be something direct, like volunteering or mentoring, or something subtler, like offering emotional support to a coworker. When we connect genuinely with others, we amplify the impact of our purpose. Here's another provocation. What if the biggest obstacle to living your purpose was the expectation of perfection? Often, we place unnecessary pressure on ourselves, believing we must do everything right to honor our purpose. In reality, the path to purpose is full of imperfections, mistakes, and fresh starts. The important thing isn't to be flawless, it's to keep trying. Even on days when you feel distant from your purpose, remember that every small step counts. A kind gesture, an encouraging word. These may seem insignificant, but they have the power to transform both your life and the lives of others. A powerful example of this idea comes from Laura's story. After losing her mother, she felt completely lost, unable to find meaning in her daily routine. That's when she decided to start tending to a garden at home. At first, it was just a way to pass the time, but over time, she realized that the act of planting and nurturing flowers connected her to the memory of her mother, who had always loved nature. Additionally, she began giving some of the plants she grew to friends and neighbors. This small gesture brought joy to others and helped Laura rediscover her place in the world. She learned that purpose doesn't have to be monumental. It can bloom quietly like a plant growing slowly. Before concluding this section, I'd like to propose a final exercise. Grab a notebook or open a note on your phone and write down 3 things you can do today to live your purpose. They don't need to be big actions. They could be simple gestures like calling a friend, reading an inspiring book, or taking a walk outdoors to reflect on your journey. The important thing is to take action, even if it's modest. Finally, remember that living your purpose is an ongoing process. It's not something you achieve and then forget about. It's a daily conversation with yourself, a renewed choice every day. And that choice doesn't have to be dramatic or complicated. It can be as simple as deciding to be more present, more compassionate, or more curious. Purpose is about who you choose to be, regardless of external circumstances. We've now reached the moment to wrap up our journey together, but before we part ways, I invite you to reflect on everything we've explored so far. Purpose isn't something distant or unattainable. It's deeply tied to your essence and can be lived out in daily life, even in the simplest moments. Throughout this video, we dove into the meaning of purpose, uncovered practical tools to discover it, discussed how to build it in a sustainable and realistic way, and explored how to weave it into your everyday routine. Now it's time to consolidate these lessons and chart a clear path forward. Let's start by revisiting the key takeaways. First, purpose isn't about grand goals or external achievements. It's about meaning. What makes you feel alive and connected to the world? Second, uncovering purpose requires self-awareness. You need to look inward, identify your core values, and recognize the moments when you felt most fulfilled. Third, purpose doesn't have to be perfect or static. It can evolve over time, adapting to life's changes. And finally, living. Your purpose is a daily choice, a practice that can be woven into the small actions of everyday life. Now, consider one single step you can take today to bring more purpose into your life. It doesn't need to be monumental or complicated. It could be as simple as setting aside 5 minutes to write about what truly matters to you or calling someone you care about. The key is to act, because it's through action that purpose comes. Alive. Remember, every gesture, no matter how small, contributes to the larger mosaic of your personal meaning. But here's a final thought to challenge you. What if the true power of purpose lies less in finding it and more in living it? Often we spend so much time searching for external answers that we forget purpose already resides within us, waiting to be expressed. It's not something you achieve in the future. It's something you can experience right now, in this very moment. All it takes is being present, mindful, and willing to connect with what truly matters. To further inspire this reflection, I'd like to share a brief story. Maria was a woman who always believed her purpose would be something extraordinary, something that would change the world. For years, she waited for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity. But at the age of 62, after losing her husband, she realized her purpose wasn't something that would happen in the future. It was already there, in the present, in the conversations she had with her grandchildren, in the memories she shared about her husband, and in the small joys she found in everyday life. She learned that purpose isn't about scale, but about authenticity. It's about staying true to who you are and the impact you wish to create, regardless of its size. Before we conclude, let me leave you with an emotional and uplifting message. Life is full of challenges, losses, and moments of uncertainty, but it's also brimming with possibilities, connections, and meanings waiting to be uncovered. Your purpose doesn't have to be extraordinary to be valuable. It can be found in the simplest things, the smile you offer a stranger, the affection you show to those you love, or the curiosity with which you face the unknown. Purpose is about living with intention, about choosing to be someone who contributes, grows, and connects with the world in a genuine way. And now, one final question for you. What will you do with everything you've learned today? How will you use these tools, reflections, and stories to rediscover or strengthen your purpose? Remember, this journey doesn't end here. It continues every day with each choice you make. Finally, keep this thought in mind. Purpose isn't something you search for out there. It's already here within you, waiting to be recognized and lived. So take the first step today, now.